The screen says you are live. And that we are. We are live for the February 9th, 2021 version of Remodelers on the Rise live. What is this show about anyway? Well, first, since it's my birthday, it is just a flat out desire for you to say happy birthday and shower me with those. It has been a fun day. Just you hear from a lot of people that you typically don't hear from, which is fun. But the real purpose of this show and this show any day, Thursdays during the week, is to provide you with value. My definition of marketing is getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you. And the way I've approached my business is to build know, like, and trust. And the best way to do that is to help, is to serve, is to do that without the thought of, ooh, if I teach them, then I'll make some money off them. Nah, that happens through good marketing and through good know, like, and trust building. But the heart of it is to really help you guys. So that's what this show's all about. At the same time, oh, look, they're already coming in. Now, this might be Bailey showing up under the Facebook group. Oh, hi, Heather. Happy birthday, Kelly. Yes. Hi, Nancy. Talk to you later. Happy birthday. Thanks, Chris. Look at that beautiful Crossbeam Builders hat that Chris sent me that I'm wearing today. Thank you, everyone. Oh, that was fun. I have a little bit of a smorgasbord in store today. I will start with, so we'll be using the chime feature quite regularly to move from one section of things to the next. Hi, Michaela. I see your like as well. This is a picture of some friends of mine last Monday and then yesterday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. These smiling faces and I did a mastermind meeting. You might see some people you recognize. David Loopberger's in the top left corner. Spencer Powell, Brian Kaplan, Dan Ballman, Dave Sullivan, Diane Gilson, Vicky Suter, Ed Earl. Several of these folks, hi, John and Bill as well. Several of these folks I've had on the show, just really good colleagues. And we meet once a month to just have a little mastermind conversation. And then usually we do a 2-day in-person retreat. So we did it virtually this year. And it worked out better than expected. But I share that, one, because I wanted to share that beautiful picture. And two, one of the themes that seemed to emerge out of that meeting, and also it's come up in several coaching calls, is we need to focus on fewer things. I've said this before. If you have maybe 10% of your overall work time available to work on the business, meaning 90% of your time is being spent in the business, doing the work, doing the design work, estimating, production, etc. If you have a small percentage of your overall time to devote to on the business, you have to be smart about it. And oftentimes there's 8 things that we're working on the business. And that means we get it kind of 20% of the way done. We get this one 20% of the way done. And it was interesting as I went through with these colleagues of mine who a lot of them are coaches and consultants, and myself when I'm thinking of my business, better focus on fewer things produces stronger results. Okay, so think about that for your business as you continue to think and execute your 2021 goals, as you still have some of those New Year's resolutions nice and strong and going well. Hyper-focused on fewer things, very focused on one thing goes a long ways. Take that advice, me with you. Okay, good. We're off and rolling. I would love your questions today. Who has a random, it can be totally random. Hey, Kyle, you've walked on this earth now going on your 38th year. What's the key to life? You could ask me random questions. You could ask me very specific questions about your remodeling business. I'd love a little bit of that today. Come on, people. Help me out. Okay. Next one up. What did I have next? You need to continually, this came off of a conversation I just had with my boys at Rainy Blair, actually. I happen to have their hat there. I happen to get off the phone with them. And we're talking about checklists. We're talking about standard operating procedures. And one of the things that kind of came to all of our minds was the need to not just really focus your team on what to do, but really make it clear why you're doing it. You need to continually sell your team on why you do this, why cleanliness matters, why our process is this. Yes, there's plenty to talk about with the what, but if you're clear and reminding them consistently on why we do it, it'll help with actually having it implemented consistently. And it helps for you as well. Think about, it's not just the what, it's not just the checking off the boxes. Why are we doing this? That's how we get true implementation. It's also how we get buy-in from the team. The other thing that comes to mind related to that theme of topics is make sure your team is involved in some form or fashion in crafting and creating the process, the checklists, keys. It should not be that you close your door and create and then hand to them. This isn't Moses going on top of the hill coming down with the 10 commandments here. It is a little bit more that wasn't a great example, but that's what the image that came to my mind when I thought of locking myself in the room and then coming out and saying, here, this is it. Get them involved in it. That's going to allow them to buy into the process more. That's going to allow for actual implementation and consistent implementation. So the thought there, again, sell your team, sell yourself, get really clear on why you're doing things, not just what. I sure did want to share that with you. What's kind of fun, I have adjusted where I go live to also be just my general Remodel Your Marketing business page. And I think some of my family are seeing it. I just got a love from Katie Emery McCumber, my sister-in-law, or some might say my sister-in-love. Hi, Katie. She's like, oh, I'm never going to watch this again. He just called me out. Ugh. Happy birthday again, sir. Yeah, you're welcome. Any questions you guys have? All right. So focus, the why. Next thing I wanted to share. I was talking to one of my clients earlier today. If you haven't noticed, the way that I crafted the topics that I'm going to talk about is just thinking about meetings from yesterday and today, which I tend to do that. I was talking to a client this morning whose energy level was pitiful. Down. He's overwhelmed right now. He's a little stressed. He's not feeling that great. Combination of all of that. And one of the things that I reminded him, and that's a reminder for all of us, is that the mood and the energy that you bring day in and day out, or that you bring out to one of your job sites when you go out there and visit your team, or that you bring to a sales call, or that you bring to an internal meeting that you're having, the energy and the mood that you bring to the table as the leader of the business matters way more than you realize. It can either elevate your team to get kind of fired up, to stay focused, to be energized, or it can also just drive people down into the dumps. And he's always just nitpicking. He's always negative versus he's always upbeat. He's always encouraging. He's always helping. That matters more than I think we realize. The energy and the mood at which we bring to meetings as a leader matters way more than you think. So I wanted to share that as a reminder, because it's not the easiest thing to do, because we're busy and we're stressed and we're juggling a lot of things, but it's something that you need to be reminded of. Now you've been reminded. Okay, next one up. Any questions? Give me some random or good questions that I can also be answering during the Remodelers on the Rise live show. I see a bunch of you watching live. Now engage and ask a wonderful question, please. Do not make me do 100% of the work here, people. Sometimes when I yell at you guys like that, the questions start flooding in. All right. Next up, on a similar vein, conversation. Let's see what Anthony says. Being someone who vents and instantly feels better. That's a hard pill to swallow, Kyle. You're so right. Thank you for that reminder. So you got to be careful with who you vent to, Anthony. It's okay to vent. We need to vent. We need to get it out. But who are we venting to? I learned that lesson approximately 11 and a half years ago. 12 years ago now. Started my business. Pretty stressful to start a business, folks. I don't know if you realize that. I was working from home down in the basement. We had one kid, two kids at that point, baby plus a toddler. And being stressed out, I would come upstairs and vent to my wife. Oh, I've got this. Oh, I got to still sell $2,000 yet. It's the 28th of the month. Oh, I'm just stressed out about this, that, the other. And I would feel so much better after that. I would just dump it on her. Problem was, out of the 4 kids we've had, that was the kid that, one, her husband had just quit his job and started his own business. So there was that. 2 out of our 4 kids, that was the one where she was experiencing some postpartum and some challenges there. And I would vent and I'd feel better, but boy, it was not good for her and healthy for her. So I learned that a while ago. We got to be careful who we vent to, but especially, yes, your team in the field, your team in the office, Anthony. Yes, we got to get it off our plate, but the energy that you bring, the upbeat, the encouraging words that you bring goes a long ways for your team. I'm glad that struck you. Cool. What was the next one? Oh, the next one was conversation I recently had. My client was getting off the phone with me. I was getting on a sales call. He's presenting proposal, kind of more of a final proposal and design. He was doing it via Zoom. Interesting. And my comment to him was, so you're just going to go through the motions? You're just going to get on that call and be like, well, here's how we finalize this design. And, here's a little bit of this scope of work that we tweaked and changed. And here's kind of how that impacted the final price. And, we could probably start, next month or so. You're going to do that? Or are you going to sell? Are you going to sell? The energy that you bring to your sales calls, to your presentations, that also matters. That also matters. You're going to talk about job site cleanliness. You're going to talk about communication. You're going to be talking about and reminding them of why you're making all of the selections and decisions up front. You're going to remind them of all of the work that you've done to get to that point and how that's going to lead to a project that stays on schedule and on budget. You're going to talk about the lead carpenter or the project manager that you're going to be handing this project off to and talk about how wonderful they are and how the client's going to absolutely love them. Are you going to get really clear and sell them on what the next step is? There's so much that you can do to sell, to remind, and note that selling is not being pushy. That selling is called really leaning into all the things that you do that matter, that deliver value. You're continuing to build value up. You want to start charging what you need to charge and be able to have the markup that you need to have a nice, profitable business. You got to continue to build up the value. And that comes through selling. Comes through marketing, but hopefully those ideas. You talk about, you got a bill clean system. You talking about that with every prospect? If you're not, you should. Making sure that you have all these little selling points and working them into your sales work, working them into the conversation. I got a love text from a client I was talking to this morning, and he sent me a big fat, all caps, sold triple exclamation mark. So it worked for him. Cool. So there's another little reminder. Happy birthday, my dude. I wonder who this is. Who am I a dude for? If you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you can give permission. You can give permission to show your pretty picture as well. This Michigan weather, though. So this must be somebody responding to that. Hey, bring the energy. Yeah, it's cold out there. It's kind of frigid. At least it's sunny in Michigan today. But that's a real thing, right? We're all experiencing the COVID lockdowns and the anxiety and just cooped upness that brings for a lot of us, especially us Michiganders. We're dealing with winter time. Yes, you got to power through it, right? Kyle, how can I be positive when I'm stressed out about this, when I'm stressed out about that? I don't know me. How can you be positive? What do you need to do? Do you need to have a gratitude list at the start and end of your days? You need to remind of the blessings in your life? Do you need to listen to stinking Remodelers on the Rise? You need me to yell at you a little bit to get you fired up? You need to read that book that always motivates you? Need some quiet time of prayer and whatnot in the morning? I don't know. What motivates you? What gets you fired up? Be proactive with that. Yes, Michigan weather. Alex. Oh, hey, Alex. How you doing, man? Watching on Facebook. Cool. All right. What else do I got here? Give me some other questions, my friends. What else do y'all have? We're double digits of who's watching. Blitz. Again, I was prepping by looking at my calendar. Had a really strong meeting yesterday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Bailey Suzio, my marketing director / employee. And the reason that I highlight that meeting, or I want to mention that meeting, is because it's called a Blitz meeting. If you have, especially if you have like an office manager, designer, somebody on your staff, could also work for lead carpenters, et cetera. But in particular, if you have kind of that office manager, personal assistant, that type of role, the way that we do this Blitz meeting is when I get an email in that I need to respond to, but maybe I need Bailey to help me with it. Maybe I'm going to have her craft an email that I can just kind of copy and paste and write. I just forward that and write Blitz. Forward Blitz, forward Blitz, forward Blitz. Certainly, as emails come in, I process some of them. But if it's a Blitz item that I'm going to have Bailey help with, I just forward it. I forget about it. And then we have multiple Blitz meetings throughout the week. And I'll say, okay, what's the Blitz meeting today? And she usually emails me the list of them, and we just knock them out. Yesterday, we knocked out, actually, we didn't knock out as many as we wanted to, but we did knock out the frogs. The most important things that we're most likely to put off, we knock those out. But oftentimes we'll be able to knock out 15 things in 30 minutes. Now, not all of those 15 are done, but I have been able to give her the information that she needs to go and tackle them or to work on the next step. Blitz Meeting could help you just easily process information, organize it, or you're handling a bunch of things all at once. It helps you be way more productive and efficient. So that is something that works wonderfully well for us. Okay. All right. Setting up builder trend with S, etc. Joyce. Break that elephant down into bite-sized chunks, right? Realize that every one SOP and checklist you create in builder trend is something that's going to pay dividends in the months and months and years ahead. If you can really lock that down, get that set, get your team excited about it, and get them to do it consistently, it's going to make you more productive, more efficient, less stress. Build up why you're doing it. Why, right? It goes back to that what versus why. Well, here's my SOP with the 20 checklist items. That's the what. Okay, cool. That's important. But why? Why are you doing it? Get your team to buy into that. Why do we have to, when we do our time tracking, why do I have to check demo versus framing versus this? You got to teach them. You got to sell them on that. The benefits, the value of that, and for them to buy into that, because it's going to make us better estimators. It's going to make us more efficient and profitable. What happens when we're more profitable? There's more dollars left over. We're able to look at employee benefits and bonuses and your pay. Keep selling them on it. All right, Bracken. What's next? Do I have anything written up here? Well, we've got 12 minutes left. I got more to go. This one is something I just got in the mail the other day. It's a nice little idea for you remodelers out there. What does it says? Nobody has ever measured, not even poets, how much the heart can hold. Oh, so lovely. So lovely. Now, the inside of it says, you are the heart of our business. Without you, the vision would never come to fruition. Happy Valentine's Day. There's something to be said for sending a card out to your clients and trade partners, not at the time that everybody else sends something, right? December rolls around, the cards start rolling in. But to send something that talks about how you love your clients and appreciate them and get that mailed out in February, that's a nice touch point. You might have a list of 150 previous clients. It's a little effort to get these things printed, to put a little stamp in there, to get them out the door. But it's also a great way to stay in touch with your previous clients, to stay top of mind for them, to remind them that you really appreciate and value them. And wouldn't you know it, sometimes you might send these out and hear crickets. Other times you might send this out, especially if you're consistent with it. Hey, I got your card the other day. It reminded me, we've been talking about having you out to look at this bathroom project, and that card reminded me, because by golly, it's also got the business card in there. So that's a nice little best practice. That's a nice little best practice. The other thing that I was doing is I was walking around my office looking for additional content for today's Remodelers on the Rise show to entertain and excite and encourage you. I feel like we've already done that quite well. I'd be curious, for those of you who've been watching the whole time, what's a takeaway you've had so far? What is a takeaway you've had so far? But as I was looking for content, I looked at these bad boys. What do we got here? Oh, clean chocolate peanut butter. Energy bar. This one, grain-free granola bars. Both these little Costco purchases. Why are these in my office? Because, Kyle, stop eating crap throughout the day. Because if you eat better food, one, you won't be fat, and you won't have those extra pounds. That was blunt, but it's true. And more importantly, you actually would feel better. You'd have more energy. Here I am talking about bringing energy to things. You know what? When we're feeling better, when we're feeling strong and fit, we usually have more energy, right? So that's something interesting. But these aren't as tasty as chocolate, just straight up chocolate chip cookies or brownies or this or that. And sometimes we've got to do things in life that aren't as appealing because it's good for us. I'm just preaching to myself here, but it's also a reminder for y'all. Bam. Do you see how I used y'all? I'm not from the South, but I know some of you are from the South, and you appreciate that I customized this on the rise to your lingo. You're welcome. Chris is watching this show. We get more response out of the Valentine's Day card than any other we do. That's a stinking good, practical, simple idea. It's very much a Chris Mosley Crossbeam Builders Day with this hat and everything. All right, what else do we got here? What's another topic or two, my friends? Let's see here. I've noticed it's fun to have a birthday because you get a lot of texts, you get a lot of Facebook, comments. As I see some of the names pop up that I haven't talked to in a while, it reminds me that it is always a good time. It is always a good time to reach out to somebody that you haven't reached out to in a long time. So if I pause there for dramatic effect and say, who is somebody? Could be a trade partner, could be a friend, could be a family member, could be a former employee, could be a current employee. Who's somebody that you haven't connected with in a while that you could, heaven forbid, pick up the phone and call, or that you could even just text? Maybe we'll just sit here and pause for 2 minutes in silence while you guys actually execute that idea. That wouldn't be very good live show, but you get my point. Think of somebody, and if somebody came to mind, actually execute that. You know what we're all really good at as business people? Getting all fired up about ideas. We got 1,000 ideas. You know what really matters? Implementing those ideas. Actually doing something with them. That separates the women from the ladies, the men from the boys. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Oh, we got some LinkedIn check-in. Gail, thank you, Gail. It's good to see some of these faces. All right, cool. That was that one. What'd you cover today on the Remodeler Show? Well, I showed some chocolate peanut butter energy bars, talked about texting people, showed a Valentine's Day card, talked about at the start that we need to focus on fewer things, more focus on fewer things, especially when it comes to on the business items. Take one thing and drive it to completion and implementation. Talked about selling yourself and your team, not just on what they need to be doing, checklists, standard operating procedures, etc., but more focus on the why. Sell them on the why. Talked about how your energy that you bring to a meeting and your mood dictates how your team will perform the rest of the day way more than you realize. It also affects tremendously your ability to take a prospect and turn them into a paying client. Are you excited about their project? Are you bringing the energy? Are they enjoying being around you? Or can they tell you're distracted and stressed and anxious? All right, we got to work at that. The other thing we talked about is you're just going to present your design and your proposal and your contract. Are you going to sell it? Kyle, I don't want to be a sleazy salesperson, high pressure. No, we don't want anything remotely clear to that. But we do want to be salespeople. That's not a bad word. We want to talk about the benefits. We want to remind them of our process. We want to tell them about our employees. We want to talk about our points of difference. We want to get them excited about that build clean system. Right? Okay, so we talked about that. Talked about Blitz meetings and the power of those. All kinds of things. Any other questions you guys have today? That might be it for the day, folks. We're going to hang for another little bit, see if somebody pops a question in there. But we covered 10, 11, 12 different good things. What is a takeaway? Whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the recording, would you be so kind as to share a takeaway that you received from today's Remodelers on the Rise live show? I suppose I could sing a song. You know what's big right now is sea shanties. Sea shanties where you kind of, and then you kind of like have this kind of humming thing. I've seen a lot of that lately. Anybody into shanties? I think I'm pronouncing that right. Actually, I had one of my clients send me one earlier today. Could have been, so far, the highlight of the day. All right, y'all are quiet. We did our thing here. Hopefully provided some value. gave you some good takeaways. Thanks for everybody who commented, who watched the show. And I'll be back on Thursday. I do believe I have a guest on Thursday. A lot of times I work kind of in a 48-hour window. Now that is just getting into that 48 hours, so it'll be heavily on my radar. But I do believe, yes, Jason Carmack with Vision Construction is going to be my guest on Thursday. He's down in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. And Jason is doing a fantastic job of, one, there's some interesting things that he's added to his website to help qualify leads, to talk about how much projects cost, what their budget is, to get very clear with his 3-step process. And he's also doing some interesting things once the lead comes through to help qualify, build value, etc. So he's a longish, worked with him the last few years, client of mine, and I just like the clarity at which he's doing that. So I invited him on the show, and it's going to be a wonderful show, probably even better than today's show. Takeaway: don't be so absorbed with working in the business that you forget to work on it. Wonderful, Michaela. Consciously think about how my mood and demeanor affect my team. Another wonderful takeaway. Based on those 2 takeaways, today's show was a smashing success. We will see you again on Thursday. Reach out anytime. Catch y'all later.